Thanks for clicking play and welcome to another video in my Campervan build project. In this video we are going to be assembling and installing a roof rack onto a long wheelbase Mark 7 Ford Transit. Now I was supposed to do this as part of the last video, which was refurbishing and painting and installing, but that never happened because it took so long to clean it up and get it ready for painting and then paint it that I decided to separate the two videos. If you do want to watch that, it's up in the top right corner. So in this video it's finally painted, it's kind of looking nice, I'm okay with that. So yeah, got to put it together and get it on the van now.
My stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the. Coming for the throne.
And we've already got a problem. I hate the fact that that's turning into my catchphrase, but I already knew a few of the bolts were snapped, but it turns out that like over half the bolts are snapped, and the ones that aren't snapped, the threads are slightly mangled or the bolt's bent itself. And in some cases, the square head that's supposed to go into the space on the metal is slightly rounded, so I don't trust whether that's going to tighten up or it's just going to rip the metal to pieces. So I'm just going to order a load of new bolts. We'll just put a brand new fresh kit on it because, I don't want to risk this thing falling off. And here's all my fresh bolts. Ooh, my precious.
You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Take it. Kingdom rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming.
Don't know how I messed this up, but these spacers don't appear to fit, so hopefully I've got enough spacers in there, but I'm going to order some fresh ones just in case.
The camera ran out of battery, so this might be a little rubbish, but I want to get this done tomorrow and I'm not sure if the shop's open, so I'm wondering whether I can drill through.
No idea what happens to the audio here, but basically I'm drilling the washers out.
I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control.
Okay, now it's all assembled. I've just noticed something that I think is quite important, and that is that these have a left and right side. The bolts go in a specific way, so I'm guessing that the round head faces forwards, so if the wind's pushing on it, it's not going to come undone, because if the bolt was facing forward, it's potentially going to unwind it. Speaking of the bolts, the last set were thread locks, so it had nylon built into the nut itself, which stops it coming undone. These new ones don't, but I'll probably use PTFE tape or Loctite if I've got some. I'm pretty sure I've got some Loctite, and I think I've got enough bolts left to actually double bolt them at the same time.
All the bolts, washers, spacers are ready. We need to get it on the van, but there's one massive area that I completely forgot about. It's the fact that we're in the middle of this corona thing, so I can't really be inviting my friends around to help out. So I'm going to put it on the van myself, which is going to be really, really awkward. It's going to be really awkward. But let's see if we can do it. So stage one of me putting this roof rack on by myself is putting these feet onto the crossbar rail thingies. Now, there's not a lot of room for me to do this, so I'm going to be attaching the feet onto the rails inside the van, and then I should be able to just go straight outside and attach them one at a time, taking up as little room as possible.
Take it, kingdom rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
How could you ever love me? You don't even see me. I'm hanging around, wasting time, hoping that you drop by. And I don't pretend.
Right, next is the super tricky bit because it's on the side of the road where the traffic is, and I don't want to really drive it around when it's not attached, so let's figure this out.
It's only gonna make me stronger. It's only gonna feed my hunger. Say the words, say the words. Even if the tide stops turning, even if the world keeps burning, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Say the words, say the words.
Before I go around checking and double bolting everything, I've realised I need to move the rack and reposition it. Eventually I want to put decking all along the top of the van. That means moving the rack all the way to the front, so the skylight and solar panels can sit on that front section. But this leaves a huge space at the back where I'm going to order an extra rail, so that the decking can go all the way to the back of the van. So I've come to a nearby industrial estate to take it off and reinstall it. Yay.
Higher, setting my world on fire. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, risking it all on you. And I don't pretend to know how you feel. Either you won't or you will, but I'll give it a try. Even if you're too blind to see, and even if you look right through me, I never thought it would be easy. Say the words, say the words. Even if the world stops breathing and every beating heart stops beating, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Just say the words, say the words.
Super cold, I can feel the rain is coming in, but I can't really drive this until it's attached, and we're at this stage right now, so hopefully I can get through this before it starts raining, get home and eat some pizza.
Okay, so we're back in the quiet spot again, just to finish up the rack. I'm going to be going around double nutting and Loctiting the bolts. just to make sure they're extra safe and they're not going anywhere. There's also extra rails that fill out the spaces, so I'm going to add a couple of them on as well.
And I don't pretend to know what you want. I don't even know where to start, but I'm willing to try.
I don't even know how to do this bit. Oh, I was so happy. So yesterday when I refitted the rack, I was super happy. And I've just noticed something very, very bad. I've put the bolts on the wrong way around. Well, technically I've put the brackets on the wrong way around, which means the bolts are facing the wrong way. And I've just started the Loctiting, so really, I have to do this right now before the Loctite dries. Absolutely. Halfway through fitting the rack for the third time. I wasn't filming this because it's just too boring. But it's a good job I did, because the spaces I got were actually thinner than the original spaces, which bent the metal, so I was going to double up the spaces when I bolted it on. Now refitting it for the third time gives me the opportunity to stick 2 to 3 spaces in every time so it doesn't bend the metal.
The flames burn higher, setting my world on fire. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, risking it all on you. And I don't pretend to know how you feel. Either you won't or you will, but I'll give it a try. Even if you're too blind to see, and even if you look right through me, I never thought it would be easy. Say the words, say the words. Even if the world stops breathing, and every beating heart stops beating, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Just say the words, say the words.
So, an hour later, the rack fitted for the third time, and I'm pretty much where I was.
To fully secure the rack on, I started by removing the bolts so I could add some Loctite. Then put the bolts back on with my fingers so that it wouldn't damage the threads. Quick tighten with the drill. Then I check with a hand spanner. I wasn't over cranking these, but I was making sure they were tight. Next came the second bolts, again using my fingers to put them on so I didn't damage the threads. Then cinching them up with the drill. Then I used my spanner on the back one to hold the bolt in place. Then I used a socket wrench from the front to tighten it against the back bolt. So now there's pretty much no chance of these bolts going anywhere. So then I did this for every single bolt on the rack.
One more thing though, this step is absolutely amazing. So much better than climbing up on the roof, so much quicker than doing it at the side of the road. Definitely glad I bought one of these.
Swear we never say goodbye. Fall asleep to lullabies with something that I thought I'd never find.
Alright, so it's conclusion time, and I'll be as quick as possible because surprisingly there was a lot to go through in this video. We'll start with the stuff I got wrong, because boy did I get a lot wrong in this video. Like assembling the feet without checking I had the right amount of bolts, ordering the wrong size bolts the first time, ordering the wrong size washers, ordering bolts without nylon thread lock, fitting the feet to the rails before putting them onto the van, thinking all the measurements would be the same, trying to fit the rack by the side of a busy road. I shouldn't have done that. That was a big mistake. Fitting the rack in the wrong position the first time around. Fitting the feet the wrong way round the second time. Not putting enough spaces between the bolts that attach the side rail to the cross rails. I didn't check everything was correct before I started Loctiting and double bolting things. And then the last mistake I made was this.
Yep, and that's right, back in my favourite spot.
I'm currently installing my ventilation fan, and because of something that happened, I had to move the rack again. But whilst I was moving it, I realised that I hadn't put the cross rails on straight, so the whole thing was crooked anyway. I also decided not to install that aerodynamic front piece. When I tried it on the van, it actually had a gap of about an inch, and all I could see is the wind just pushing that and bending it constantly. It was also really, really heavy, so I decided not to put it on. And then when I did have to move the rack all the way forward, that thing would have just been hanging out and probably would have caused some damage. And you will have noticed I didn't fit the ladder either. That's because I was looking for information on it and I couldn't find much out there. I couldn't find any videos on installing a ladder to a transit minibus, so I thought I would do a separate video. So I'm going to get all the information I need to make sure I'm fitting it correctly, and then I'm going to do a video on it when I install it. So hopefully it might help someone else when they're looking. And once again, don't fit your roof rack next to a busy road. That was really stupid of me. But whilst I was fitting it, I was walking on the roof. I saw a lot of other people walk on the roof in their videos and I thought it was okay. But whilst I was up there, I just didn't feel secure, and at one point I heard a crack. Since then, a couple of leaks have appeared in the van, so don't walk on your roofs, guys. Unless for some reason your van has a roof that's made to be walked on, then yeah. So that's it. I'm very happy that the roof rack is on. It's looking good on the van. I'm very happy that it's out of my basement. As I mentioned earlier, I am currently installing my ventilation fan, so that should be a video coming out in the next week or so. Once that's in, I'm going to move on to electrics, and hopefully I should see this project start to speed up a bit. As always, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Peace!